With your insurance company, saving you time. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
J&J Truck and Auto Body, 100% guaranteed.
At Highmark Credit Union, we are big sports fans, and even bigger fans of our teachers. That's why we offer debit cards featuring our local high school mascots on the front. These cards are awesome, and every time you use your card, Highmark makes a donation to the school activity clubs. Highmark has donated over $5,000 locally to Rapid City and Douglas schools. So make the smart money move, show your school spirit, and open an account at Highmark. Visit highmarkfcu.com.
It's the geometry teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen and store managers who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the graduate who listens to the league championship game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in South Dakota so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
The New York Jets has come to an end. The Jets releasing a statement today saying that they are going in a different direction than their 41-year-old quarterback who spent the last 2 years with the team. The team thanked him for his accomplishments, but the Jets looking for a new era in New York. Saints introduced head coach Kellen Moore today. He was not committal on who their starting quarterback would be, but was committed to saying he'll be the one calling the offensive plays next season. Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter will participate as a defensive back in the drills at the NFL Combine coming up later on this month. Tonight, Clippers and Jazz will play, and Ben Simmons is off the injury report, could make his Clippers debut, while Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving are questionable for tonight's Mavericks game against the Miami Heat. In golf at the Genesis Invitational, Scotty Scheffler has a share of the lead in first-round play at 3 under par, playing on the South Course at Torrey Pines. I'm Dan Beyer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, good Thursday afternoon to you. Thanks for making us a part of your day and your drive home. The Thursday show is ready. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. It is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. Welcome in where it is always a great day in South Dakota. You know that. Hope you've had a solid day. Let's get this thing going on a Thursday. South Dakota Sports Talk Show packed tonight with some great guests. And Thursday happy hour, of course. 2 hours, thought-provoking sports talk. Let's get to our guest lineup, tell you who's coming up. It's the Forever Lawn guest lineup brought to you by Forever Lawn of South Dakota with the best lineup of artificial grass. Check it out for yourself. Whatever you're looking for, landscape, golf greens, sports grass. They do turf fields, canine grass for the dogs. You can check it right now, Forever Lawn of South Dakota. Just Google them. Forever Lawn in South Dakota. They're ready to install across the entire state. That's Forever Lawn in South Dakota. Check it yourself. High quality artificial grass for your house, playground, sports field. You check them, and they'll put it in maintenance free. It is good stuff. The Forever Lawn guest lineup on the Nate Brown Show tonight. North Dakota State Athletic Director Matt Larson is going to join us live from Fargo tonight. First time we've ever had him on the show. I think NDSU is that major factor in FCS. You look at where is college athletics going. I want to get the perspective of Matt Larson tonight, NDSU Athletic Director. A lot of questions for him. By the way, I asked the audience tonight on Twitter, I said, what topics are most interesting if you want to find out about NDSU? I've got a few myself, but what topics are you most interested in with NDSU, whether it's football, whether it's college athletics, the future of college athletics? We'll get to a lot of that. Matt Larson's coming up from Fargo. We will talk NDSU, FCS, and more. The AD for the Bison straight ahead. Then we'll go to Pierre tonight. Dan Swartos is on. He testified today at the Capitol, and he's done that a couple of times now. Dan Swartos and some high school sports stuff has been, crossing over there into Pierre, and I'll tell you why again today. We'll get into a lot of stuff. Dan Swartos coming up, Executive Director of the South Dakota High School Activities Association. He's live from Pierre straight ahead. And I told you, Thursday happy hour, you bet. We'll get after it. Rob Kegron is our guest host, second hour of the show, so packed in a full hour with Rob Kegron. Thursday happy hour on tap tonight. And 5 questions from Chris. You know that we got to get that done. 5 questions from our loyal listener, Chris. We'll throw that into the mix. So a packed Thursday show, as you would hope. Let's get popping. Get you on the program if you want in. 605-720-1067. 605-720-1067. That's our Pizza Ranch studio hotline. Powered by the Pizza Ranch at 3809 East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Drop by the Pizza Ranch in Brandon and 2 locations in Rapid City. Home of everyone's favorite buffet, the Pizza Ranch, locally owned and operated. Call us on the Pizza Ranch hotline. And by the way, the Barron's Wilson text line always open. Direct text the show, 605-720-1067. Okay, thanks for being here. Let's get going. The Nate Brown Show. I've got 2 things that I want to touch on in Pierre because this developed today. So the legislative session has some sports things going on. We tried to keep you up to speed on what's happening if you can't, watch every hearing. And our guy, Matt Kearney, the producer of the Nate Brown Show, outstanding job. Outstanding work from Kearney, taking a look at all this stuff that's happening here. So a couple of things that happened in Pierre today. One is what I talked about last week. So if you listen to this show every day, well, thank you very much. I hope that's the case. You can make it. If you listen to this show a lot, we talked last week about the mobile sports betting Senate joint resolution. So here's what I said last week. There's a Senate joint resolution in Pierre. This isn't the first time we've seen something like this with mobile sports betting as the potential. They're trying to look, can you get, instead of just Deadwood city limits, can you get to a mobile sports betting opportunity for citizens in the state? And they've talked about it the last 2 years. They've thrown it out there, and it's been defeated the last 2 sessions. It's been defeated the last 2 sessions. Not just having mobile sports betting, but what's been defeated is sending it to the general election ballot. So they tried just getting it on the general election ballot here in 2024. They've already tried that. They defeated it in Pierre. The legislator said, we don't want to take this to the general election. So they defeated it. It didn't make it. They brought it back this past week. Mobile sports betting, Senate joint resolution. It was sponsored by Senator Colbeck out of Minnehaha County. And Senator Colbeck said, hey, let's throw in some new things here. Some of the revenue on this is going to go to property tax relief. So that was one of the add-ons. It's like, well, how do we figure out a way to maneuver this? This is what it feels like. How do we maneuver this through Pierre to get enough legislators to, this is better. It's not just mobile sports betting, and I'm concerned about that, but the tax revenue is going to help out property tax relief? Well, maybe that's better. I just had Austin Goss on the show last night, South Dakota legislative reporter from the Dakota Scout, and he said this property tax relief part of it might help it out. He thought that last night. Well, guess what? Today, the mobile sports betting Senate joint resolution sponsored by Senator Colbeck out of Minnehaha County was tabled. It is it's essentially, what's that mean? It's pretty much done. And Senator Colbeck himself today said he wanted to table it. And people, I think, in South Dakota, at least sports fans, you're probably going, what's the deal? He brought it up. He had the Senate joint resolution. Why is he tabling it today? Well, I do have a minor in political science. I'm not that smart of a guy. But let me tell you, he said after talking with stakeholders, there needs to be some adjustments here, and we can work on this and make some progress and maybe bring this back another time. And another time doesn't mean this legislative session to me. And you remember last week, I don't have that many sources, but I had some sources on this say, I think this is going to get pulled. And it went from last week. It kept going. It's going to hearings. And then it does get pulled essentially today. Pulled, tabled, whatever you want to say. So the Senate Joint Resolution, mobile sports betting, gets tabled. That's pulled. It's over for now, so it's put on hold. And what this means is they're going to have a big effort from the folks in Deadwood, the legislators in Pierre, and they're going to have a comprehensive plan. You can't just run with something hoping that, well, I'm going to sponsor this bill and I'm going to put some new things into it and maybe this will work. And what I mean by that is I was told last week this might get pulled because there hasn't been enough feedback. There hasn't been enough people in the conversation. And essentially that's what you heard today from Senator Colbeck saying, well, talk to stakeholders and we gotta kind of have more discussions on this. What that means is everybody that's involved in sports gambling in the state, and it's the Deadwood operators, that's a major part of this. The West River legislators out of Lawrence County and that situation, they got to be in on this too. And so you got to have some people that are talking this openly and saying, what is the plan? Are we going to try and get mobile sports betting? Is everybody on board? Because clearly, the last week, not everybody's on board with say, yeah, let's do this. Let's take this to the Senate floor. Let's see how this goes. It's already been pulled. It didn't even make it. So it didn't even make it. So moving forward now, that's the only thing I got for you. You're going to have a lot of folks that get together, talk about this before the legislative session starts. And so this is going to be a next year thing. This is going to be a 2026 thing. Will there be enough momentum? Will there be enough people at the table saying there could be more revenue on this? If you took it statewide from Deadwood to Sioux Falls and everywhere in between, there could be more revenue. Does Deadwood say, yes, this works as long as it's regulated through us? Or does Deadwood say, now we still want people to come to Deadwood? They're going to have to find out what's that number. Meaning, do you want the revenue from the sports handle, the sports betting handle, or do you want the economic impact? We still want people coming to Deadwood only and doing it that way. I don't know those numbers. I have no clue. How much impact a sports betting situation when you have to come to Deadwood plays out for hotels, casinos, the whole thing. It's significant. You're not just placing a bet on your phone. Now, many people will say in the sports betting world, if you open this up statewide and it was mobile betting and people could bet from Sioux Falls to Deadwood, you would have unbelievable amount of sports handle, meaning amounts of bets. A lot of people think you wouldn't even be able to estimate how many sports bets you would get. It would be unbelievably high. As in now, Deadwood doesn't have a huge amount bet on sports. They don't have a huge amount. You got to be in the Deadwood city limits. You got to be in the casino and doing it that way. So what outweighs what? And that's where it's going to have to go. So not enough people involved in the Senate Joint Resolution this year. Not enough people talking about it before. I mean, you got to get in front of the folks in Deadwood and the major operators in the Gaming Commission. You got to get in front of this and have some big discussions here. What's best for Deadwood? What's best for the state? How's this going to work? Can we get enough support and take this to a general election in 2026? That's going to be the next step. Okay, listener text coming in. The original video lottery gambling was supposed to go to education, and then the legislature changed it. so the monies go to the general fund. Yeah, no, I've heard about that. I mean, there's been tweaks along the way. So it's not just going to be about the tax revenue and where it goes, but you got to find a good number there. It is going to be about how much can Deadwood bring in as opposed to how many people can they bring to Deadwood. That's kind of the rub right there. That's kind of the rub. And I'm going to keep on this. So the Senate Joint Resolution, mobile sports betting, put on hold today. It's tabled. That's done for now. Let's go to this. The other last thing in Pierre that was talked about again today. I'm not kidding. We're still talking about cashless payments at high school sporting events. We're still talking and debating in Pierre about payments, cashless, these cashless payments that are going on at a few school districts. Brandon Valley, Sioux Falls School District. Okay? There's been this push in Pierre to say, we got to stop the schools from doing cashless. We got to get back to cash and mandate it across the board that every school has to do that. They did the House bill before. That was defeated. Now it's a Senate bill, and they're still discussing it. They had a hearing on it today, and it made it out of committee. So I never thought we'd have that much interest in the $5 it takes to get into the Sioux Falls Lincoln Roosevelt game here. But I've come up with a solution. Can I testify next time? Should I testify next time? The solution is, I believe this. And you could say, well, maybe you're wrong on this. I think the school district, Sioux Falls School District, I think you have to just do a cash option. I think you have to do that because I don't know if these folks are going to keep giving it up or not. I mean, I don't know if they're going to give it up. They're going to, heck, we've talked about more cashless payments at high school sports games than more serious thought into the mobile sports betting statewide. There's been more discussions about cashless payments at high school games than the mobile sports betting. Nobody was talking to anybody on that thing. That's kind of a big deal, wouldn't you say? A little more bigger of a deal than, a few people that are complaining, I can't get into the game, and if I give them my credit card, they're going to be a third party's going to be able to track me. Track you for what? Dude, am I actually worried about giving my debit card, going to a high school game, and I'm going to get tracked for what? That I like watching high school sports? What am I going to get from Varsity Bound? Is it what am I going to get through my email from Varsity Bound? I mean, we just got to eventually get to a common sense deal here. The common sense deal is Sioux Falls schools went cashless. I think a majority of people are okay with that. But then there's some that say, I want to be able to do cash. Cash is the only way to go. We got to just give them a small line option. And I understand that kind of defeats the purpose of keeping cash out of the mix because you know why they're worried about cash? There's been some folks that take a little money off the top. I've heard about it. So have you. Okay? That's the big thing. They're trying to streamline it. It's not a big conspiracy of having a third party track you and wonder what you're doing on Friday nights. It's just to streamline it, keep it clean, not have to worry about it, not have to worry about the cash. It's not about worrying about gangs trying to steal money. They're not trying to steal money from the Activities Association at the state track meet. It's about the other folks that have that amount of money and hoping that they're honest and there's not any, taking money and moving it around and having that much cash at a state track meet. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. So this thing got out of committee again, and now it's going to go to the Senate floor. And I just don't think we need votes and mandates. I don't think we need that. If you want to go cashless, school districts want to go cashless, I think the compromise has to be those boards have to go back. The school boards have to have the meeting and say, this has been a peer issue. We've spent weeks on this. So we got to maybe have a cash option. Is that okay? I'm not an AD. I'm not an administrator. I don't know how clunky that is. Once you go cashless, if you have a cash option, that's my only solution. So we can stop worrying about it in Pierre. I mean, I think there's a lot of big things to worry about. Not getting tracked if you're going to a high school volleyball game and wondering what they do with my card. Coming right back with Matt Larson, North Dakota State Athletic Director, for the first time on this show next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Want to improve your putting? Master your chip shots? Golf Greens by Forever Lawn is the ultimate synthetic turf to improve your short game. For the committed golfer to the recreational player, we create custom golf greens to make your home or business the premier practice and entertainment destination. Call 605-831-9026 or Google Forever Lawn in South Dakota. With dealerships on both sides of the state, we're ready to help you shave strokes off your golf game. Forever Lawn in South Dakota.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Our locally owned Ace stores are committed to helping our neighbors and our communities. And because we're in the neighborhood, we can deliver almost anything you need. So shop in store or online for whatever your home or yard needs. Choose from top brands like Milwaukee, Stihl, Traeger, and Benjamin Moore. Then pick up in-store, curbside, or we'll deliver your order right to your home. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know how to help. See acehardware.com for details.
Shop the area's best selection of pre-owned Hondas and Honda certified pre-owned at Denny Menno Rushmore Honda. Get financing as low as 0.99% APR on certified pre-owned Civics, CRVs, HRVs, and Passports. 0.99. Plus, shop a lot full of used cars, trucks, and sport utilities, including a great selection of all-wheel drive and 4x4 trucks and SUVs. See us at Denny Menno Rushmore Honda or RushmoreHonda.com. Length of finance contract is limited with qualified credit. Expires 2/28/25.
Building projects can be complex. The risks are great and time is money. Consolidated Construction of Rapid City simplifies the process by being your advocate, guiding you through funding, design, and construction. They manage the players and the schedule and marry the design to your budget so you get the most for your investment. They promise an energizing experience before, during, and after construction. It's not enough that you get a quality building. They pledge you'll experience quality every step of the way. Consolidated Construction. One call to build.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 30. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 15. Tonight, overcast skies. Chance for snow tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 31. Overcast skies. About an inch of snow tomorrow night through Saturday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 25 degrees.
Being in business has its rewards as well as its challenges. It means being the first one in the door in the morning and turning off the lights when you leave at night. Your business is unique, and you need a bank that understands your needs. You deserve the best. You need a financial partner that is invested in your success. You need Pioneer Bank and Trust. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear, Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in Fox Sports Radio across South Dakota. Thanks for being here. The Nate Brown Show is on. South Dakota Sports Talk Show, Thursday edition, packed tonight. Rob Kegron's coming in, second hour, our guest host every Thursday with Thursday Happy Hour and Rob Kegron in. A lot to discuss. Dan Swartos is going to join us. He's the executive director of the South Dakota High School Activities Association. He's been pretty busy in Pierre. South Dakota legislative session's been going on, and high school sports kind of crossing over into some politics. Dan Swartos coming up talking about a whole host of topics from Pierre. He testified at the legislature this morning. Well, for the first time on this show, he's on, and I've followed these guys a ton, right? You all know about it. There's a lot of Bison fans in South Dakota. So I thought we better talk NDSU. Invited him on. I appreciate him coming on. North Dakota State Athletic Director Matt Larson on the Nate Brown Show for the first time. Matt, good to have you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me out, and it's good to hear that there's some Bison fans out in western South Dakota. So good to be on with you.
Well, I appreciate your time. There is. I hear from them, and they're out here. Bison Nation's going strong. By the way, I want to go to last night. Women's basketball game, South Dakota State, North Dakota State. I know SDSU won. They just keep winning. What do you see from up in Fargo with this women's program with Aaron Johnston?
Well, I mean, he just does an unbelievable job, and I think the biggest thing for them is, one, just the consistency. Aaron has done a great job. He's been there for a number of years. He has built a program versus a team, and just continues year after year to bring in some really high level talent. And I know he's had opportunities in other places, but I think he sees the program he's built at South Dakota State, and they have something really special going on, and things that at NDSU, our head coach Jory Collins, and we're trying to certainly emulate and try to at some point surpass them. But he's done an unbelievable job, and they're a really talented basketball program.
Okay, you give me your perspective, Matt, of the Summit League, women's basketball and men's basketball. Our teams, whether it's NDSU or SDSU, USD's made it in there. The teams have done pretty well and respectable when they've made the tournament. How do you feel Summit League basketball is comparing nationally to mid-majors?
It's been interesting. I think historically over the number of years, the past number of years, I think the teams that come out of the Summer League have fared really well. Be it in the NCAA tournament, we've had some NCAA tournament wins. NDSU has won. Oral Roberts made the run to the Sweet 16. So there's certainly some talent there. It's been interesting the last couple of years with the transfer portal and how that impacts teams across the Summer League. I mean, we've seen most of our programs are probably seeing 8, 7, 8, 9 new players on a given year. And so how do you incorporate them into your culture and your program? And but the teams at the top of the league have continued to do that in SDSU and NDSU and USD right there as well. So something special about the Dakota programs and the type of kids that they recruit and the type of programs they run. So hopefully we'll continue to be at the top of the league on both the men's and women's side.
Do you like the Summit League tournament in Sioux Falls?
I mean, honestly, I remember my first time there. I've been here. This will be my 11th Summit League tournament this year, and I think it's one of the best. Forget about mid-major or high major. I think it's one of the best basketball tournaments in the country. You have some fan bases who really care. On top of it's really, really good quality of basketball, and it's unbelievable in terms of our attendance, the atmospheres that the Premier Center provides, and certainly our fan bases across all 9 of our institutions. So just really, really pleased and happy with the job that Sioux Falls has done. But more importantly, I think our fan bases that come together and see a really good brand of basketball and come and celebrate it in March.
Matt Larson joins us, North Dakota State Athletic Director, tonight on the Pizza Ranch Hotline here on the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, talking Bison Athletics. Let's go to football here. You guys get back on top. What was the difference with Coach Polisic coming in? His history. He comes back, and you guys get back on top. What was the difference?
Well, I think part of it is, this is, Coach Polisic's third stint in Fargo. He was a GA years ago. He was the offensive coordinator here for my first 3 years at NDSU, and sort of bring him back. I would say the biggest thing is he brought back an edge. He brought back a little bit of a swagger to our program. In terms of what we represent, the way we play football. The Missouri Valley Football Conference, in my opinion, is far and away the best conference in the country, and it shows out year after year after year. The things that we've done, SDSU's done. It's been great to see USD in the last 2 years really elevate their program. So I just think more than anything, an edge and a confidence and a little bit of a swagger he brought back to our program, that was there all along, but probably needed to be woken up a little bit. And so really pleased with the job that he did, the way he kind of galvanized the team that we had in place when he came in last December, and just continued to build on that. And to the point where we were playing our best our best football, near the end of the year, and that's what you need to do. So really pleased with him, our senior leadership, and what they were able to accomplish this year.
Another national championship, a long line of them, Matt. So what does this national championship do? Another FCS title for your institution?
Well, it's interesting. I've been fortunate in my 11 football seasons here. We won 7 of them. And everyone is incredibly special, none more than the other. Different story every year and different players and different journey throughout the year. But what it does, I think, more than anything for our program is it, from a national brand, certainly gets us back to where we think we belong at the top of FCS football, really in the conversation in all of college football. And so it's good to be back there. And who knows, with all the weird things that are going on in college athletics nowadays with transfer portal and NIL and health settlement and conference realignment and all those things, you really want to be positioned as best you can for what the new future of Division I athletics is going to be. And I think being back with a national championship, and because football drives so many things in our industry, having that national championship certainly helps.
Matt Larson joins us a few more. I appreciate his time. He's the NDSU Athletic Director on Fox Sports Radio, The Nate Brown Show Live. So you said year 11 here. Year 11. You look back 10 years. Is this Bison fan base the same, as passionate as 10 years ago?
Well, I would say the passion hasn't waned. We have an unbelievable fan base who cares a bunch. I would say the piece that may have waned a little bit is I think there's an element of been there, done that. We've been fortunate enough to win at a high level at the FCS level, and something that I'll never take for granted. I think it's incredibly important. I don't care what level of athletics if you're dominating at a really high level, that's really hard to do on an annual basis. But I think there's certainly an element of them where they feel like we've accomplished all we can at this level, and there's a pretty good segment of our fan base that would love to see kind of what the future holds, and that's why I go back to what I said earlier about just continuing to position NDSU for just opportunities as the new Division I kind of unfolds, and we'll see where that heads and what opportunities there are for mid-major or FCS football programs. I think positioning ourselves to make the best decision for NDSU, and so I don't fault our fans by any stretch. They've been incredibly generous and supportive of our success and building facilities and scholarships and all the things that we do. But I think there is an element of they're hungry for something different.
Is it important to you, Matt, to be ready for FBS? If that call is made, you maybe have had discussions. Is FBS important to be ready for?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily FBS, but I think if options present themselves, regardless of what it is, and between myself, the president, and other leadership at NDSU, if we think that's best for NDSU and the institution moving forward, those are the things I think you have to be ready for. And I've been in this industry for 28 years, and the last 3 or 4 have been the most unique, challenging, evolving of any time I've been part of this. And so I think you have to continue to be ready for changes, opportunities, because those opportunities may only come along once. And if you're not ready, you're not prepared, it may pass you by. And so those are the conversations we're having on our campus about trying to be ready for whatever the future may hold and what's best for NDSU.
Speaking of that, all the changes coming, you said a few weeks ago, 99% sure you're not going to opt in to this settlement deal. I think fans their eyes get glossed over. They're like, what is this all about? Why does NDSU not want to opt in? What does this mean?
Well, it's interesting. I think, and it's really convoluted, and I'll try to boil it down in its simplest terms. So the House settlement was basically a lawsuit against your Power 5 conferences. So all the terms of the House settlement, the Power 5 conferences are required to opt in. And there's a number of elements of opting in. There's roster caps, there's revenue share opportunities. Those are probably the two big ones. Opting out, you can't exceed current scholarship levels, Alston Award levels. You can't compensate student athletes directly through NIL. And so I think from NDSU's perspective, some of the things that we look at when we say we're not going to opt in, do I in any way, shape, or form think it's going to hurt our level of competition on the field or the court of that? Not at all. But if we were to opt in today or March 1st when the date is, there'd be 65 less student athletes walking around our campus because of the roster caps. And some of the programs that we pride ourselves in, development of student athletes, we don't take a lot of kids out of the transfer portal or developmental program. Those walk-on kids who ultimately end scholarships and either are playing in the NFL today, and we have plenty of those stories, those kids aren't here anymore. And then secondarily, when I look at the financial support that we provide our student athletes between cost of attendance, full scholarships, Alston Awards for every student athlete, which rewards them for their academic success, plus the work our collective is doing, without opting in, I still think we're leaps and bounds ahead of probably 80% of athletic programs at the Division I level. And so for me, opting in is just saying we're opting in, but at the end of the day, we could not opt in and still be head and shoulders above a lot of other programs.
Yeah, very interesting process through this that's going to play out here in the spring. You do have an NIL operation going up there. How would you describe it? Going really, really well, aggressively? Student athletes benefiting from this more than any other FCS program? How's your NIL?
I think we've been really fortunate. We've had a collective that's been started by some local folks, one alum and a retired person who's really passionate about our program. And they've done a really good job in our community of educating our fan base on what NIL is, what it means, the advantages that it provides NDSU. And so we've done a really good job, probably more particularly for our football program. We are doing some things across some of our other programs, but and philosophically, we're different. We're not a place that, is going to invest everything in one player. There's programs out there that are, paying hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to one player. And at the end of the day, that's not great for your locker room. And so we've adopted a philosophy of we're going to invest in our team. And every student athlete on our program is an opportunity to earn something through our collective. And earning is really important. In the upper Midwest, most people out here, you earn what you get. And so there's still an element of that's really important to us. So every student athlete on our football program will have the opportunity to earn some NIL. And then your superstars will have greater opportunities based on their name, image, and likeness. So just feel really strong about the things we've been able to do, in addition to, particularly for football, the guys who want to maybe play at the next level. We've proven we've sent quarterbacks, receivers, defensive players, offensive linemen to the NFL, and they've had great success. So you can get it there through NDSU. And through some of the things that we're providing you.
I think you're going to send another one, a Pierce, South Dakota kid, Gray Zabel. I think he's getting ready to go to the NFL fairly soon, in a couple of months. The draft coming up. Matt Larson, NDSU Athletic Director. Last one, I'll let you run. South Dakota State football going through some changes. There hasn't been big ones. It was Coach Stig, then it was Coach Rogers. Now a pretty big change. What do you think SDSU football is going to look like?
Well, here's what I would say. The 11 years I've been here, SDSU has continued to grow and build their program to the point where they're a national championship level program. And so, yeah, they're going through some difficult times right now. They've lost some players. But to me, the infrastructure, the culture of their program is still intact. And so I don't see them taking a step back in any stretch. There's way too much pride and passion in that program from the people at SDSU. Justin Sell, their AD, he and I are really good friends, and I think philosophically really align in what they believe in. And so this will be a blip on the radar, in my opinion, for them. And they're going to be there contending for the playoffs, Missouri Valley Football Conference Championship, and certainly the NCAA playoffs next year.
I look forward to watching NDSU, SDSU, the whole scene as it plays out. You've done a great job up there. Admire what you're doing. Powerful program. Matt Larson, year 11, Athletic Director, North Dakota State, getting set. Matt, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Nate, appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me on.
Appreciate your time. Matt Larson, great discussion with the NDSU Athletic Director on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show with the Bison AD live from Fargo. Appreciate his time. He's coming on before the NDSU men play Oral Roberts up there in hoops tonight. Well, that was interesting across the board from NIL. He's really happy where they're at. Is FBS important to him? Well, I don't know about FBS, but we got to be ready. And I still think the NDSUs and the SDSUs, I'll throw in USD there. They're not quite at the level of SDSU, NDSU fundraising and athletic prowess. And then Montana State, Montana, those types of schools, they got to be ready because if this college sports thing changes in the next few years, the big dogs have their own division, more like minor league pro, like the revenue sharing, the whole thing. You're going to have the big dogs, and I think there's going to be a pretty big group of 5 teams and these FCS teams that are solid. Not a lot of the FCS, but the FCS teams that are solid. I could see the FCS top tier. You got to be ready to join the group of 5 in this new college football level. I still think that's how it's going to play out. The biggest dogs are going to be together. Maybe that's 50, 60 schools. I don't know the number. There's going to be a big chunk, a group of 5 that can't play with the big dogs on the revenue side. The SDSUs, the NDSUs, USDs, Montana States, that's where you got to be. And so I think you just hold. You don't need to opt into this settlement case. You don't need to jump to FBS and pay the $5 million and really search that out now. I think it's okay to hold strategically. Well, let's see what happens with the big dogs first. Matt Larson on tonight, NDSU Athletic Director on the Nate Brown Show for the first time. Good stuff. Dan Swartos is next. He's been testifying in Pierre. We got a lot to discuss high school sports with the Executive Director of the Activities Association. Live from Pierre next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Andersen, we ask, why should we only feel the love on Valentine's Day in February? We have declared the entire month of February as the month of love. That's right, we did it. We laugh at February's snow and cold. We love installing the best new windows and doors. We love how warm, cozy, quiet, and more valuable our awesome windows and doors make our customers' homes. Love, love, love. Tell someone you love them today, and please book your free estimate right now at RVARapidCity.com. Feel the love every day in February with Renewal by Andersen.
Pre-owned 4x4 truck or sport utility from Denny Manholt Toyota. Shop a great selection of 4x4s and all-wheel drives. Plus, the area's best selection of used Toyotas and Toyota certified pre-owned. Get financing as low as 5.49% APR for up to 60 months on select certified pre-owned. Over 35 certified available. See us at Denny Manholt Toyota or DennyManholtToyota.com. 1910 per 1,000 finance, regardless of down, with qualified credit, expires 3/3/25.
At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we are committed to improving the lives of our members and bettering our communities. As your community credit union, we're here to get to know you and your unique needs. From extended service hours to the newest technology, we have you covered. Stop by any location to get started or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is member-owned, not-for-profit, and federally insured by the NCUA.
So, I just got the State Farm Personal Price Plan on my car insurance.
So you told your agent you play the bagpipes for your dog?
What? No, I didn't get that personal. My agent just helped me create an affordable price just for me. Okay, let me show you what I've been working on. Hey, Buster!
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Looking for a great place for a pregame meal that really satisfies? Or maybe you want a place to take your all-star after the game. Or you're looking for a place to enjoy a delicious meal while watching your favorite team on the big screen TV. Valley Sports Bar and Grill has all the bases covered for all those things and more. Top-notch, friendly, and attentive service. Wall-to-wall big screen TVs with all the big games. And the absolute best wings in Rapid City. Valley Sports Bar. Make it your place. 1865 Valley Drive, Rapid City.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Glad you're a part of the program. We just had Matt Larson on, North Dakota State Athletic Director. Behind enemy lines. Into South Dakota, we brought him in. Appreciate his time. Good conversation there. If you missed parts of this show, like the Matt Larson segment, what do we have? 15 intriguing minutes with Matt Larson tonight. Good stuff. Go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. You can search the Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcast, so then you get every show. Search The Nate Brown Show on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, and you've got this show every guest. Dan Swartos is in next on the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline from Pierre. He's been busy going up to the Capitol and testifying and all of this stuff. I wonder if I'm going to have to testify sometime. No, you don't want that. Dan Swartos, Executive Director of the South Dakota High School Activities Association. Dan, thanks for the time. I know you've been busy. How are you?
I'm all right. We're getting close to the end of the week, and that's always a good thing.
I know, and you've got some new things happening this weekend. I'm going to get into that later. I don't know if people know about this, so I'll get into that later. But let's go to today. So you were testifying again, and I opened my show with it tonight. We're still discussing cashless payments at high school events. Sioux Falls School District's cashless, T, Brandon Valley, K. And there's people that are saying, we got to make sure that we have a cash option here. And this is now in the Senate. It was in the House before. Now it's in the Senate. Why are you testifying at this? And you're kind of on this side of it like, we might have to have cashless options here. Why is this important to you?
Well, I mean, as I said today, I wasn't really. We take cash at all of our events, but we have some events where they have an in-house box office. Okay, and you talk about like the Pentagon or the Premier Center or what have you. They have their own in-house box office, and we don't have control over. We follow their venue policy whenever that happens. Okay, so we take cash. We don't have any. Intentions of doing that. I talked. To go back a little bit, the initial bill went to the House and it died on the House floor. This is a bill that was reintroduced on the Senate side.
Yep.
It's shrunken up quite a bit. The first one included concessions and some other things. This is more. It essentially applies to any venue that any public or private member school would use for an athletic contest or musical contest or any activity. So, which would pull in venues like the Premier Center, the Monument Center, the Pentagon, all the Border Regions facilities, the Corn Palace, things like that. And I think most of them still take cash for admission. Okay, and that's great. I hope they always do. My message was, we have a lot of competition from NCAA events and concerts and to get these venues. And there's only two 12,000 seat venues in the state that we can use for state basketball. And either of those places can make more money off concessions with an event where they can sell alcohol than they do off of us. So my message was, these are private companies. I don't want to give another reason or an additional reason for us to potentially lose out on a venue, because in Hand Day I can get a Miley Cyrus concert and make a boatload of money with alcohol sales, and in Plan B I've got the state tournament. I can't sell alcohol, and I've got to accept cash. I don't want to be in that situation. It's not because I have anything against cash or anything else.
No, that's
more what I was speaking on as to is I don't want this to become an issue and cause us to lose venues in the future.
Yeah, very interesting and a good point. I'm not sure people think about maybe the big picture there. Here's the thing. I said I was joking. I should testify. I said I don't know if there just has to be a compromise. Accepting a cash line option at some of these schools and still going cashless for the most part, because I don't think it's a huge controversy as long as people could hand over $5 to get into a Sioux Falls Lincoln game. But I don't know. The school boards make their decisions. That would be my compromise, and would it end this, peer mandate?
Perhaps. I don't know. I don't know all the ins. I think, to my understanding, Brandon Valley and T made that accommodation, and they have it. While I've gone to a game at Brandon Valley, I know they have a cash line now.
Okay.
Paid cash to get into a Brandon Valley game. I'm not sure. I don't know the ins and outs of all the decisions that those schools have made. The argument is this is essentially a local problem. The other side would say yes, and nothing we've tried has worked. So I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't know what's I'm not getting into their business.
Okay, we'll see where this goes. It's now on the Senate side. Will the legislature make a law that tells schools and venues you have to accept cash payments? That's what's being discussed. Dan Swartos on tonight, Executive Director of the Activities Association. Let's jump to another one. So the budget has been talked about a lot. You've testified as well when it comes to South Dakota Public Broadcasting. They put on not only your state events, 40 to 50, they do the legislature streaming. SDPB has a lot to do there in our state. The emergency alert system, Amber Alert system, the whole thing. Budget says they're going to get cut, and I'm not sure if it's going to be the full cut or not. What would you say if SDPB could not do the state tournaments?
Well, we'd have to scramble quite a bit, and you know what? I agree with you. I don't know if people realize the full extent of everything that SDPB does. Just with the SD.net network and broadcasting and archiving every legislative hearing, every committee hearing within the legislature. That's year round that they do that. In addition to the emergency alert system towers, and for us, we've been partners with them since started sort of in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was sort of a mix of them and Keloland, and then them and PAX, I believe it was called, and then it's been them. But for us, they cover everything for us. They cover from one-act play and debate to our music events to all of the sporting events, and we're not going to find someone else that's willing to do that over the air. Now, there's some great streaming providers. There's great streaming providers here in the state. A number of our schools use that live ticket system, and I know that they've done some things. So if this passes through, or cut passes through,
and
they're not able to do it. Yeah, if it passes through and they're not able to do our events, we're going to have to scramble and figure something out in a hurry, and we'll do the best we can with that. Our message was they've been a great partner to us. It's been an asset to the state. It's probably about the only it's the only over-the-air option where people could get it statewide, even through an antenna. And the only one that's going to be willing to cover everything. So, we sure hope that and I know budgeting is not easy, and so my message was, if you're able to restore this funding, it would very much be appreciated by us and by, I think, a lot of South Dakota.
Dan Swartos, one more question for the Executive Director of the Activities Association. This one is not dealing with Pierre, and you're testifying. This one is girls high school flag football. Now, I know you're not in the middle of this, but I had a guest on from Montana. They don't have it sanctioned, but they started with 5 teams a few years ago, 17 this year, over 30 next year. And this guy is passionate, this AD in Billings, Montana. He said, I've thought about going to South Dakota. I could come down there and talk about it. We could get this going. NFL teams want to support this. What do you know? What do you hear? I've seen growth across the country. The NFHS is putting this out too. Girls high school flag football. Should South Dakota be open to it?
Well, the NFL and the NFHS have partnered up on this, and the NFL franchises are very much on board with it, and have offered to work with states on implementation of this. From our perspective, when we're adding new sports and activities, we want that to come from the schools, and it may be something that our larger schools are interested in as a fall activity, and it helps with additional female offerings that you can offer in a school. It helps balance out numbers for Title IX and things like that. So I'm certainly not opposed to it. We've got a process in place now for adding sports, and that starts with the request from member schools for us to look into that. And so we're certainly not opposed to it. When it first sort of started coming out and around, of course, it was more in the larger states with the larger population of kids. My initial thoughts on it were I'm not sure we have enough interest to justify it. Maybe we would. Maybe we would. Maybe we wouldn't. But it's certainly something to look into.
Has anybody ever said anything about it at all the last year or two from schools?
Nothing that I've heard, but I get things from people. I get requests from citizens or questions from citizens all the time on everything from baseball to bass fishing. There's a number of states that sanction bass fishing as an activity. There's a couple of states that sanction rodeo. Hockey is one I've been asked about quite a bit. Of course, softball was until we ended up sanctioning that. Robotics, trap shooting. We've had interest, or powerlifting is one that some states have as well. We've had interest in a number of different things. It's a matter of getting the schools sort of organized who are interested in doing it and seeing if they want to push forward with it. And of course, that ends up being a financial discussion that the school needs to have as well, and make sure that they're able to fund it. And as you said, with this in particular, there's some grants available through NFL teams to start, but then it's a continual funding once you get it started too. So it'll be interesting.
Be something to watch. It's grown exponentially the last couple of years. I know that. Dan Swartos tonight from Pierre, getting set for the first ever esports state competition in Aberdeen this weekend. Dan, speaking of participants, are you happy with the number?
Yeah. We had I think it was around 40 schools that participated in our inaugural esports season. We have that in Aberdeen this weekend. I'm going to that. We got 3 state events this weekend, so I'll be up in Aberdeen at state duels or at state esports, taking in that, and I think it's 150, 200 kids who are participating in that event.
Okay.
This weekend, we've also got there's going to be a Special Olympics division within that we're excited about. We haven't really. It's not awards that we're giving out, but just sort of partnering with the Special Olympics of South Dakota up in that area, and having some teams within that division as well. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's a lot of kids that maybe otherwise wouldn't have been involved in a school activity. That's the whole reason we did it.
All right. Well, good luck with it. Esports on the scene for the first time, their state competition this weekend. Dan Swartos on tonight, Executive Director of the Activities Association in Pierre. Dan, thanks for the time. As always, appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks a lot. Dan Swartos on the Nate Brown Show tonight, Executive Director, South Dakota High School Activities Association. What are my thoughts on one more thought on SDPB and the budget? One more thought as we kind of get into the nitty-gritty of this budget process next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Anderson, we ask, why should we only feel the love on Valentine's Day in February? We have declared the entire month of February as the month of love. That's right, we did it. We laugh at February snow and cold. We love installing the best new windows and doors. We love how warm, cozy, quiet, and more valuable our awesome windows and doors make our customers' homes. Love, love, love. Tell someone you love them today, and please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com. Feel the love every day in February with Renewal by Anderson.
We're clearing out our 2024 models at Spearfish GMC Cadillac. We've discounted all of our remaining 2024 models, but don't wait because stock is limited. New 2024 Sierra 1500 up to $9,300 off. 24 GMC Yukon as low as $71,927. Remaining 24 Sierra HDs up to $6,000 off. And 24 Cadillac Lyric EV up to $10,000 off. Spearfish GMC Cadillac, online always at spearfishmotors.com.
Today on Hey Culligan, buy to save. Here's a text from Devin in Denver. Hey Culligan, I'd love a water softener, but I don't want to pay for it. Devin, I can't help you there, but a Culligan high efficiency softener can help you save oodles on energy and detergent, so the savings can be even greater than the cost. And I'm getting a mind-blown emoji followed by, yes please. Devin, the savings are already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Cloudy skies expected tonight with a low of 14. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies again tomorrow. Chance of snow. Highs around 32. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow night. Snow likely. Lows dip down to about 4 above. About an inch of snow tomorrow through Saturday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 24.
Hi, this is Dr. Dan Jensen at Physio. We want to be your trusted partner for physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab. As the official strength and conditioning partners for Stevens, Central, Douglas, and the Rapid City Rush, our team at Physio is building the best athletes in the Black Hills. If you have an athlete in the family, we offer long-term athlete development at affordable prices for middle and high school students. We also have the only board-certified sports PT in Rapid City. At our brand new facility, Physio is ready to help you perform at your best. One-on-one physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab, all at one place. Get started at bhphysio.com.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show this hour, driven by Summit Automotive Group. When it comes to pre-owned in South Dakota, take a look, summitautogrp.com. Experience car buying built around you, the right financing, the right vehicle selection, and then the right treatment, really, at Summit. Experience the Summit difference. Start at summitautogrp.com. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live. Happy hour straight ahead with Rob Kegron coming in studio. Live guest host Rob Kegron. A lot to discuss tonight. He is on tap. All right, I got a final thought. Oh, this might not be my final thought. I've said that before. But a thought here for the week on this South Dakota Public Broadcasting and South Dakota budget problem. So we find out today in Pierre that the budget has an issue. The revenue and the expenses are off. Okay, and this has to do with a lot of money that came from the federal government before, and that's out. So South Dakota's budget, government, is expecting a shortfall between expenses and revenue of $57.5 million. $57.5 million is the gap. And so that's why people have been talking about, what are you going to cut? And that's where South Dakota Public Broadcasting, which has been heavily funded more than most states, because SDPB does way more for South Dakota than most public broadcasting systems, from the high school sports coverage and all of that we enjoy. That's where you started talking about the cut. So Larry Roden's now the governor, and he said at his press conference today, what are we thinking? Are these proposed cuts still the thing? And is that still the starting point as you look through it here? He said, that is the budget. Larry Roden, governor, said that is the budget. So what that tells me, I'm still going to hold to what I said this past week and this week. SDPB is going to take a cut, I think. I don't think they're going to gut it, a huge cut that was proposed. I don't think you're going to get the huge cut. I think you're going to get cuts in whatever other programs too, or they're going to get cut. Can SDPB have enough to still do the extensive state events coverage? That's what we focused on mainly on this show from the sports side. All of the state tournaments and state events that are going on. There's way more stuff I know from a broadcasting side that SDPB does. But it's, how does the budget work now? It's going to become a South Dakota Public Broadcasting budget thing, I think. Will they get a pretty hefty cut? Will they get a trim? My thought is, if there's been enough pushback, you've been emailing your district representatives and senators, I hope, if you're a supporter of state tournaments and high school events on SDPB, if they've heard there might just be a trim, and they're going to have to figure out this or that, and maybe this program's gone or that, but not the major state tournament coverage of the 50 state events. That's where I'm still holding, is a trim's coming, because I don't think you're on the list and then all of a sudden a $57 million shortfall and you're off of the list. So you're on the list. How big are you going to be there on the budget cut? Is it going to be a hack attack or a trim? My guess is, from the public that I've heard anyway, you got to go with the trim. And will SDPB be able to still cover sports? That's, I don't know exactly how extensive the sports side and the state tournament side is to the SDPB budget. We're going to keep on finding that out. So we'll stay on that. That's the story. $57.5 million gap in the budget for South Dakota. They're going to be cutting stuff. SDPB's going to get cut, is my guess. I don't think it'll be a hack. Coming right back with 5 questions from Chris on a Thursday. We'll do that before happy hour gets going. Hang on.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
How do you make everyone's favorite buffet even better? How do you make the country's best chicken even more exciting? How do you make Thursday the best night ever? Wing night at Pizza Ranch. Boneless and traditional. A variety of sauces. All the wings you want, plus all your other buffet favorites. The country's best wing night is here, taking flight Thursday nights on the buffet, only at Pizza Ranch. Pizza Ranch, everyone's favorite buffet.
Hello there, I'm a snowman. The South Dakota Lottery hired me to promote their new 60 Days of Winter giveaway. I get most of you don't like winter, but I love it. And now you can too, because the South Dakota Lottery is putting the win in winter with 60 days of giveaways. Every week features new winners and prizes, including concert tickets, gift cards, and more. So enter daily at 60daysofwinter.com. Hurry before winter is over and this contest is gone, like me. Good fun. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly.
Save $9,500 off MSRP on a new 24 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab 4x4 at Danny Menho Rapid Chevrolet. We've got over 30 HD Silverados and our best selection in months of Tahoes and Suburbans, all of them with huge Danny Menho discounts. 18 new Equinoxes in stock, plus Trailblazers and Trax. See us at Danny Menho Rapid Chevrolet or DannyMenhoRapidChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. Discount includes all factory rebates. The dealer must qualify for 2,000 owner loyalty rebates. See dealer for qualification details. Expires 3/3/25.
Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is everywhere you need us to be. On the sidelines, supporting our local athletes, at our clinic locations throughout the region, and at our Ortho Express walk-in clinic when you don't have time to wait. We're here when you need us, working as a team to make your comeback stronger than ever. Getting stronger, getting better, getting you back to your best self. The life of an athlete has its uncertainties, wins and losses, injury and recovery. In the Black Hills area, athletes can always count on Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, here for whatever moves you.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Find your fortune and fall for big wins during the Love and Luck promotion at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. Join us every Friday and Saturday night from 8 p.m. to midnight for prize drawings that grow bigger each hour. Then, don't miss the grand prize event on Saturday, March 29th, where 10 lucky winners will take home prizes ranging from $500 to $5,000. Let Love and Luck bring you big wins and even bigger thrills. Only at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort in Deadwood. How will your night play out?
Hey guys, glad you made it. Go ahead and put your hot dish on the picnic table with the others.
But won't it get cold? Oh, little announcement. We will be eating outside in the cold tonight. Not my idea.
But June, it's starting to snow.
Cheapskate Jerry here.
What?
Thought we could go another year before we replaced our drafty old windows.
If only June and Jerry had done a free consultation with Renewal by Anderson, their new replacement windows would be in, and their guests wouldn't be out in the cold.
Swedish meatball, anyone?
Only if I could eat it inside.
Trust me, it's warmer out here than it is in the house.
If only they knew that Renewal has acclaimed custom windows and ensemble doors to keep their home warm and cozy. With financing options even Cheapskate Jerry can afford.
What?
My fingers are frozen.
Mine nose hairs are frozen.
Mine broke off.
Worst party ever.
Make the best decision for your home with exclusive custom-fit acclaimed windows and ensemble doors. Only from Renewal by Anderson. Learn more at RBARapidCity.com.
One more time. This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, second hour on a Thursday night. Thanks for being here, part of your afternoon drive. We make this show possible because of our sponsors and our listeners, so we appreciate you being a part of the program. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Radio. Remember, you can stream us anywhere on X at Nate Brown Show. So on your phone, computer, you've got us. Follow us on the app X at Nate Brown Show. Watch us live. Welcome in studio and also on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. You know what we got to do before happy hour gets going?
It's time for 5 questions from Chris on the Nate Brown Show.
5 questions from Chris, Thursday edition. Our loyal listener, Chris, he sent this in. He said 3 years now of 5 questions from Chris. 3 years. What a partnership, Chris. Let's go. Question number 1. Nate, pitchers and catchers report for spring training this week. Some within the MLB office and current baseball players already openly talking about a work stoppage that could take place after the 2027 season. Even though that's 2 years away, should the commissioner start dialogue with the players' union now? Oh, my gosh, Chris. Yeah, start talking. Just start talking. I mean, I hate all this bull. Hey, start talking now so you don't end up like that sports betting bill in Pierre where you didn't talk to the people in Deadwood and then you kind of have to restart. Anyway, start talking now. Stop talking about a work stoppage between the players and the... I mean, this happened before. So, yeah, 2 years away. Stop talking about a work stoppage. Fans don't like that stuff. It makes the commissioner look bad, the players look bad. Start talking now, whatever you're discussing. Question number 2. The NHL All-Star Weekend would normally happen this week, but instead they're doing the Four Nations Hockey Tournament taking place, U.S., Canada, Sweden, Finland. Casual hockey fan really only gets interested in the sport during the playoffs or the Olympics. Do you think this Four Nations tournament will help convince the casual fan into watching more hockey games? I don't think so, Chris. I mean, I saw this last night. I actually was like, I'm going to check this out. I'm not a hockey fanatic. I didn't grow up playing hockey or anything like that. I love watching it live. But I don't think the hockey fan, casual fan's going to be like, oh, the Four Nations. Well, this is interesting. It's just like the NBA All-Star Game. That's done. It's over. It's just you can't bring it back. The Pro Bowl, it's gone. I don't know what's happened to these, but no, the Four Nations thing's not going to be like that big of a deal. But it continues this week. Question number 3, Brock Purdy and the 49ers are in negotiations for a new contract. Usually the next quarterback contract up is the big one that sets the market. Do you think Purdy's going to demand to be the highest paid QB? No, I don't think so, Chris. I actually don't. Brock Purdy is not going to be the highest paid QB, right? He's not going to go there, right? But everybody's agent goes there. So maybe they're going to try and get there. I do not think Purdy's going to set the market for the next QB contract. Will I be wrong? Probably. I don't think so, though. Question number 4. Hey, there it is. The NBA All-Star Game happening this weekend. They're going to do the 4 teams competing in a 3-game tournament. Why do you think the NBA is refusing to do the USA All-Stars versus the World All-Stars instead of this other stuff? That might, I don't know. It's like the Four Nations thing. Hockey's trying it. Is it going to be great? I don't think. I think it's going to be mid, as the kids say. It's mid. The NBA All-Star Game, USA versus the world players. Why won't they do it, Chris? That's what you're asking? Why won't they do that? I'm thinking they don't want to see the USA NBA players get beat by Jokic and Doncic and the guys. I mean, you got Jokic, Doncic, Giannis. Look out. I mean, that would be a fun game for me. You don't want the USA All-Stars to get beat. And then the NBA has a problem with not having the USA over the world, the foreign players. We don't want to open that up. That's why, Chris. They're not going to do that. This 4-team thing this weekend's kind of like the Four Nations. I don't get it. These games are done. It's over. Pro Bowl, NHL, NBA, it's over. Only All-Star game that kind of is okay, Major League Baseball. Kind of. Because it's hard to not play baseball at a pretty high level. Question number 5. Should the NBA consider moving the trade deadline to the week after the Super Bowl because they get buried with some big trades by the Super Bowl? The Luka trade to the Lakers was only talked about for a day or two. I don't think that'll matter too much either. Super Bowl's king. Super Bowl is it. NBA's got their window now. This is the NBA window. Maybe the trade deadline could be moved back. You might get a little more juice off of these moves, probably on sports radio, sports TV for probably a couple of weeks instead of 2 days. But I wouldn't move it. It doesn't shift the sport that much. I mean, it doesn't move the needle. 5 questions from Chris in the books. Happy Hour starts next with Rob Kegron live in studio. We start with, which quarterback would you choose today? 2 legends are on the market. Which one would you choose if you're the GM? We'll go there next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Race to savings at Menards and start updating your home today. We offer the largest in-stock selection of home appliances that are ready to take home today, including Criterion refrigerators, freezers, dishwashers, and laundry appliances. They're built to make your life simple, no matter how busy life gets. Criterion appliances are ready when you are. Plus, view our weekly flyer on Menards.com and race to savings on all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
At Renewal by Anderson, we ask, why should we only feel the love on Valentine's Day in February? We have declared the entire month of February as the month of love. That's right, we did it. We laugh at February's snow and cold. We love installing the best new windows and doors. We love how warm, cozy, quiet, and more valuable our awesome windows and doors make our customers' homes. Love, love, love. Tell someone you love them today, and please book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Feel the love every day in February with Renewal by Anderson.
The Cobblers and the Raiders return to action this weekend on Fox Sports Rapid City. On Friday, the Rapid City Central Cobblers host the Harrisburg Tigers in a boys and girls doubleheader beginning at 6. Then on Saturday, the Rapid City Stevens Raiders battles Harrisburg in a boys and girls showdown starting at 1. Join Dean Gurr and me, Jerome Wickersham, for the pregame shows Friday at 5:45 and Saturday at 12:45. Catch the Cobblers and the Tigers on Friday, the Raiders and the Tigers Saturday, right here on Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hey, sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street is the newest indoor sports facility featuring 4 full courts. E3 Sports is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships and court rentals are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
Hey Rush fans, it's Rob at the Firehouse Skybox. We are your official home for Rapid City Rush hockey. When the Rush are playing on the road, join other Rush fans at the Skybox and enjoy some great food and cheer on your Rush. We show every Rush away game and we'll have Rush-themed giveaways every road trip. You'll get a chance to win great Rush prizes with the purchase of a drink or food item. The Skybox has the best food and the best Rush game day experience. Go Rush!
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on. Thursday edition. You know what it is. Are you ready? You know it's happy hour. On the Nate Brown Show, Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Happy hour every Thursday with my friend Rob Kegrod, who's in studio. He's happy. He made money off the Eagles Sunday, so he's happy. I got to tell you, the Eagles, we pegged that last week. We were talking about the D-line. We were talking about the defense. The Eagles were the better team all the way around. So we're going to get to the Chiefs, and what I found interesting, I got replied to by a Kansas City sports radio guy yesterday. He was calling me out when I was discussing the Chiefs, so I'm going to get into that. First, I want to get to this, Rob Kegron. This is a fun one. This is a great debate to start the happy hour, brought to you by the Skybox, Rapid City's premier sports bar downtown. Your home for every big sporting event on Main Street, right above the Firehouse. Hit the Skybox. So here's what's facing Pete Carroll, Maybe Sean McVay if they're moving things around. Maybe now the Steelers, they're not maybe just going to roll with Justin Fields. So let me just put this into perspective. If you're the Raiders, you've got a roster that's not outstanding, but you got Max Crosby, you got some guys that can make things work. You're missing a QB. So you've got Aaron Rodgers out here. You've got Russell Wilson out here. What is the right choice? This is the opening segment tonight, and I wonder what you have to say.
This is a tough one, Nate. Honestly, the Raiders, I think you can argue that the Raiders over the last number of years have been one of the biggest messes in the NFL. I mean, for really quite a long time now, right? Yeah, Gruden brought some level, for those couple of years he was there, he brought some level of competency, but even then they weren't successful, right? They haven't done a whole lot. Probably their best year was the year that they had Rich Bisaccia like as their interim coach, right? So they haven't done a whole lot, and the one good thing about the Raiders right now, if there is a good thing, is that they have plenty of cap space, right? They're going to be able to spend a good amount of money on free agents this year. So if I'm looking at I have Pete Carroll now, I have Chip Kelly as my offensive coordinator. Who is best? Which of these two guys would be best? Well, either one of them is a short-term solution, right? We would admit, right?
Yes.
Like Russ,
maybe 1 year, 2 year, maybe.
Right. So if I'm only looking at 1 or 2 years, and I had to pick one of those guys, I'm probably going to pick my friend Aaron Rodgers, to be quite honest, because I know you knew that's where I was going.
I mean, you just do this, right? Is this you just do this because you said Aaron was going to be great? I told you he was going to be a hat rack, and he was.
He was not a hat rack.
He was a hat rack. He can't
actually
move.
set so many Jet records, despite
that's how many losses. Saying much. That's not saying much.
Fair point. Fair point. Despite how many losses they had, and I said this to you towards the end of the season, he actually looked pretty good. The last stretch of the season, the last 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season, he had a lot of really good games.
And nobody cares. That's when nobody cares at the end.
But now we're setting up for next year, right? And so now, more than a year plus removed from his Achilles surgery, if he has the desire to still continue to play, and I'm not sure that he's definitely going to say yes to coming back to playing, but if I had to pick between Rodgers and Wilson, I'm going to pick Rodgers because I think for a year or two, I can get a little more out of him. I think what you saw from Wilson at the end of this season with the Steelers was the Wilson that was kind of towards the end of his time in Seattle. But beginning when he first got back on the field after he was done with his injury and he replaced Fields, he looked really good. You and I agreed that he looked really good.
I think he looked pretty good all season.
No, not that last month.
Pickens was a mess.
No.
Who did Russell Wilson have over there? He had nobody. I mean, he has nobody. And they were just trying to run it. I mean, Arthur Smith is a dope. They were trying to run it. They weren't playing like they were earlier. Russell did okay.
He did okay, but again, number one, let's go back. Let's make my actual best point. Are we really looking for Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson to team up together again?
We are.
A decade after they were successful?
Yes, we are.
A
Just
decade?
Watch it. It's going to happen.
No,
it's going to happen, and that's the right choice. Why? You keep overlooking Aaron Rodgers is goofy. He's totally lost his mind. He's not a good teammate. It's about him. You think Pete Carroll wants Aaron Rodgers in there? This is about him. You want Russell. Keep it clean. Keep it disciplined. Be a leader. Russell, Pete, Raiders. That's the play.
I think if there is a coach that would work well with Aaron Rodgers, it's exactly Pete Carroll. A player's kind of coach who's going to let Aaron have his space, let him do his thing.
Let him do his thing. It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, Nate, you make it like it's Russell Wilson is so much. Russell Wilson is now, at this age, an average quarterback. No better than an average quarterback.
Same story with Aaron. He can't move. He's a shell of himself.
If you had to win one game tomorrow, which guy would you pick?
Oh, I'm going Russ.
You're crazy.
No doubt.
You're nuts.
Did you see?
You're nuts.
You saw Aaron Rodgers against teams, right?
I watched him the last 6 weeks of the season where he still looked really good, like he still had something left in him.
Well, I mean, we can throw those last 6 weeks on, and then we disregard Russell's entire body of work there. He had the Steelers rolling. The Steelers looked good.
And then they were terrible in the last quarter of the season.
And I'm not blaming Russ for that. I'm not blaming Russ at all.
He was not the same Russell Wilson as he was at the beginning of the season. I'm not saying you can't get a couple years out of him. If it's going to be 2 years, and that's what we agree on, it's going to be 2 years, whether it's Russ or it's Rodgers, I'm going to take Rodgers.
You are in the drama that
because
comes
the ceiling is higher. The ceiling is higher with Rodgers than it is with Russ.
It's not anymore. It's not.
I mean,
Rodgers
completely disagree.
That career is over. It is over. We saw that with the Jets. This was a mess. I mean, you know that.
It absolutely was a mess. There's no doubt about it.
And so you don't want that in Las Vegas. Russell Wilson and the Steelers weren't a mess, at least. At least they weren't a mess. Who would you pick for a one-year run? I put it out on Twitter. Let's see what the audience says. By the way, I'll throw that on the text line for you as well, 605-720-1067. I'd like you to be a part of the debate here with Rob Kegron on the Nate Brown Show. Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson? I think it's a great question. Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson? You run the Raiders. Who are you bringing in for the one-year run? The audience says 51% Russell, 49% Aaron. It is tight.
Heads or tails?
Tight.
It's a coin flip.
And you don't say anything about Aaron's mindset and his leadership and his lack of. I mean, this guy's out to lunch.
I honestly, I don't think most football players care about that stuff. I don't think they go into the locker room worrying about what Rodgers is saying on the Pat McAfee show, or
why did that
what cave he's going into. Or,
why did that Pittsburgh Steelers defensive back send out a message yesterday? He said, we don't want Aaron Rodgers. That guy is done. I mean, we don't want Aaron. That's a Steelers player.
Again, that's one Steelers player, and here's what the Steelers do want. They want to win, okay? And Rodgers gives you a better chance to win.
Aaron Rodgers' career is over. We got a listener text. Aaron Rodgers' career is over. He had one mediocre season in New York. Who had the better season? Yeah, and Russell did. Russell
barely.
Big picture.
Barely.
Russell had a better season.
Barely. And
barely. I mean, the Steelers the Jets were an afterthought. They were done by week 8.
Okay, are we talking about the team or are we talking about the player?
But you're the guy. You got to run the team.
Well, right. And so performance-wise, it's very close between those two this season. Shall we look at the stats? I mean, it's really close. And Rodgers has a high. If Rodgers
garbage time stats.
If Rodgers is healthy, right, 100% healthy, you have a better chance to win with him than you do with Russell Wilson.
I want Russell's leadership and character. I don't want aloof, all about me, goofy. What are we going to get? We going on Pat McAfee? Hey, we should do it live at the Mandalay Bay. Let's do it live. Game day. Let's do Pat McAfee and Aaron Rodgers game day.
You are something. You just can't stand Rodgers. You really can't. It's not like you. Do we remember the experiment in Denver? It wasn't like Russell Wilson was the greatest leader in the world. In fact, it wasn't like his teammates loved him there either.
We liked him there.
His teammates did not.
Cortland Sutton really liked him.
His teammates thought he was goofy and weird and odd.
It's a narrative.
Broncos, let's ride. Broncos country.
Yeah, it's a narrative.
Talk about goofy guys. I mean, Russell Wilson is the biggest goofball there is.
We got listener text coming in. Rodgers' best fit is the Titans. Listener text, Rodgers' best fit the Titans. Listener text, the Raiders don't want the drama of Rodgers. Wilson will be the hype man for the Raiders.
I don't know that it'll be either of them, to be quite honest.
But really?
Yeah, I
wouldn't
think
choose either of them. What would you do if you're the Raiders?
I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm saying I don't think that they will choose either. I've read some stories that they might look to bring Carr back from New Orleans.
Oh boy,
I think that's a mistake too. But at some point, they're going to have to draft a quarterback and try to get it right.
Yes.
No? I mean,
but
so
this
even
year's
if they're
a little sketchy.
Even if they're signing a quarterback, but this is your problem, Nate. So go sign Russell Wilson or Rodgers. Go win 7 or 8 games, 9 games, even worse. And now you don't have the opportunity to draft a quarterback the next year.
So would you're not that they're not that close. So they'd have to trade up. They'd have to.
They're 6, I think. Yeah.
They'd have to get up there to get Shedeur Sanders.
At some point, isn't that what you have to do? Don't you have to take a risk nowadays in modern NFL? It wasn't like this when we grew up. But don't you have to take a shot to get a quarterback?
Is Pete Carroll going to do that? Say, yeah, I'm going to give it a run with Shedeur Sanders. I only got a couple of years here.
Or you try to go the path that Carroll did before when he drafted Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was like, what, the beginning of the second round, I think?
Yeah.
Right? And so you sign a veteran guy and you try to get a guy, a young guy who has some potential but probably needs to be developed over a couple of years. I think you could go down that path. But it's either that path or it's go up and get a quarterback. You can't be in the middle and just be like, well, we're going to go with Russell Wilson. For what? 2 years? And then what are you going to do?
Here's my
Start
guess.
over again?
You could go with Russ or Aaron, but here's my guess for the Raiders. Sam Darnold, do a 3-year deal with him. He lands with Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. Sam Darnold to the Raiders or maybe to the Titans. Like, that's more of a serious guy. It's a risk, but at least he's young. You're not going to rent him for a year. Pete Carroll says, yeah, I can work with this.
I still think it brings you to the level of mediocrity that is possibly the biggest jail you can put yourself in the NFL.
I know you love Sam Darnold too, so.
Oh, I can't stand he stinks. It took me like 18 weeks to be right around here, but I was right.
I want to see what you think about our next question. So the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Rob Tigron and I, we had a good time with that. We picked the Eagles and did fine. When's the next time the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl? Next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Anderson, we ask, why should we only feel the love on Valentine's Day in February? We have declared the entire as the month of love. That's right, we did it. We laugh at February snow and cold. We love installing the best new windows and doors. We love how warm, cozy, quiet, and more valuable our awesome windows and doors make our customers' homes. Love, love, love. Tell someone you love them today. And please book your free estimate right now at RVARapidCity.com. Feel the love every day in February with Renewal by Anderson.
With Brian from Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail. We've talked about remote starts and how they can make your winter life better. But I know that's not the only thing you guys can offer to help brave the cold.
For sure. Remote starts are one of the things that top that list, and we can install an Arctic Start remote start system from just $299.
Nothing better than getting into a warm running car to keep you toasty, right?
Exactly. We also have year-round winter tires by Toyo with a 60,000-mile tread warranty that we absolutely love. They're perfect for where we live. And now save $40 on a set of 4. Plus save 10% on our Duralast Pro Power Ultra batteries, the only battery with roadside assistance and a 5-year warranty.
Sounds like Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail is the place to winterize your rig.
Stop in or give us a call, and we'll go over all the remote start, tire, and battery options available, and we'll do it with the best prices in the area.
Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail, folks. See anytime.com or at the corner of Highway 79 in East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
This isn't just the sound of a legendary Brunswick pool table. It's the sound of families about to make memories together. And while this may sound like the hum of a spa, listen closely, and you'll hear backyard fun for years to come. So while Splash City's guarantee of quality sure sounds good, we know quality time sounds even better.
Who wants another burger? Splash City, 1024 West Omaha, across from Connects in Rapid City.
Do you have a financial game plan for your life? Hi, this is Lee Cruz, your local trusted New York Life agent here in Rapid City. My passion is helping you put the pieces in place for your family to make sure your game plan is a success. For over 175 years, New York Life has been helping people like yourself take action in securing their future. Don't wait, take action and Google Lee Cruz New York Life or call 605-360-8804. We will work together and putting your family first.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. Your Sports, Your Show. It is the Nate Brown Show, Thursday edition. It is happy hour. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, Fox Sports Radio. Follow us on X at Nate Brown Show. Watch the show live. Welcome in studio as we welcome in Rob Kegron. Live in studio, Thursday happy hour presented by the Skybox, Rapid City's #1 sports bar. All the big games, great food, great Firehouse beers. You got it right above the Firehouse, downtown Main Street, Rapid City. Okay, so we picked the Eagles last week. We finally get something right. We picked the Eagles. They win. We're happy because I'm a Broncos fan. You won money. So everybody's happy outside of the Chiefs fans. And so Chiefs, I keep seeing this, Rob. I keep seeing it. Ever since the loss Sunday. Well, yeah, bad game. No, it's good. We'll be right back. We'll be right back in this thing next year or the next year. So I keep seeing it. The Chiefs are going to be right back in the Super Bowl. I feel like Sunday, there's things missing. And I know it's one game. This season, they were not invincible. I watched them a ton. Watched them against my Broncos. Broncos should have beat them at KC for the first time in forever. They aren't invincible. They're beatable. They got beat down hard. You get after their O-line like the Broncos do. I've seen this. So the Chiefs, to me, are not walking to the Super Bowl. A lot of people think they are. When's the next time the Chiefs win the Super Bowl?
So winning is the tricky part, Nate, right? Because, you know, when you get beat that badly this week, certainly there are a lot of flaws that were exposed in that team. I'd say even some flaws that were exposed in Andy Reid and his strategy going into the game. But we've seen this story before, right? We've watched this movie. We watched it a few years ago when Brady was still in the league and Tampa. We talked about this last Thursday, that was a blueprint for how we thought the game would actually go. And what did the Chiefs do after getting killed in that Super Bowl? They retooled, and they were right back there and won again. Do I think that they're going to win next year? No, I do think this will be a bit of a soft reset. But if you're asking me when are they going to win again, sometime in the next 3 to 5 years. I think that they will be ready to win again. Absolutely. They have the best quarterback on the planet. They have arguably
he wasn't
the
that
best
good when he gets
coach
rushed.
on the planet.
He wasn't that good when he gets rushed, right? Like everyone else.
Right, but, well, I mean, particularly when he's rushed when he has nowhere to move at all in the pocket. So I get that, but you can fix that. They've already done this before. You can fix those O-line problems in a year or two.
Here's what I don't see. I don't see major wide receivers that scare me. Kelsey he might retire, maybe not, but he might, so he's done. I don't see a running game. It's not there. And so you tell me.
In fairness, though, Nate, I mean, other than the first Super Bowl when they had Tyreek Hill, which receiver were you ever really scared of? Kelsey, okay, fine. But Kelsey this year certainly wasn't, and they got all the way to the Super Bowl, and he was a shell of himself most of the year.
They did limp through on the way to the Super Bowl. They limped through here. And so the gap's closed. They're not making the AFC Championship next year. You can book that.
I see that I'm not positive on. I would not put it past them to go right back because you can do so much if you get to the playoffs. And I think you and I would both say that the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs next year.
Yes, I mean they'll be the Houston Texans. I mean they'll make it.
And they won't be though, because the difference between the Houston Texans and them is they have the greatest quarterback on the planet, right? And he can sometimes just will them to victories. Now I'm not saying that that's going to get them back to the Super Bowl. But to automatically rule them out of the AFC Championship game when the likes of Allen and Lamar and everyone but Joe Burrow can't beat him in a playoff game, I got to see it first. Now, I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl next year.
They will beat them, but you're putting them in the AFC Championship, so it's one or the other. I'm putting them out of it. Baltimore, Buffalo, Broncos getting closer. A lot of these teams getting closer. It's not going to be an easy walk. They got lucky to win 15. Lucky.
It's not going to be an easy walk, but when you have think about Brady, right? He won I think it was 4 Super Bowls and then had 10 years in between his next Super Bowl, right? In every one of those years, they made the playoffs. In a lot of them, they made the AFC Championship game. I agree with you. It's not going to be as easy, and I don't think that they will win the Super Bowl, let alone maybe not even get to the Super Bowl next year. But to automatically rule them out and say they're not going to get to the AFC Championship game when they still have the best player in the league, I have a hard time with that.
I think the Chiefs, that blueprint on Sunday was a beatdown. I've never seen a team get beat like that. Do you ever see the Patriots get beat like that?
No, and that is the biggest difference, and that's your best point. The biggest difference, because in both of his Super Bowl losses, Mahomes, he lost by a combined total of 50 points, and at least by 18 in each one. And that is, you can't talk about dynasties don't get beat that way. They get beat on last-second plays. They get beat on one-score games, right? They don't get beat that way. But we've seen this movie before, and they retooled quickly, and I think that they will retool quickly as well. They're not going to win the Super Bowl next year, but they're going to win in the next 3 to 5 years.
You got them in an AFC Championship, so that's another AFC Championship for Pat Mahomes. Book it. Okay, we'll see how hot this take is for me or how cold it is. We'll end up seeing. But remember, how many one-score games? That's my other point. So they were 17-1.
17-0.
17-0?
Yep.
One-score games?
Yep.
That's a lot of one-score games. I wonder why.
Well, no doubt, because you're right. They didn't have the superior talent. Obviously, every year that goes by, you get a little bit older. But can you retool this? Right? They've won without big-time wide receivers before. I'm not worried about that part. The offensive line is where they really need to do the retooling, and that's going to take a little bit.
Okay, I go no AFC Championship. Listener text, what do you say? 605-720-1067. Rob Kagron says, Chiefs are back in the AFC Championship. Wow. You got them back there. Unbelievable. After that showing Sunday.
Every year they're there. Why would you think all of a sudden that this is going to be, now they're going to fall off a cliff?
That was a mess on Sunday.
It was a terrible game.
And the season wasn't great. I mean, you got to look. I've seen my Broncos had them
one
beat with
loss.
Bo Nix.
They had
we
one
had
loss.
Beat.
They had one loss.
Yes, and they blocked our field goal, so forget it. It was a 27-yard chip shot. Give me a break. So the Broncos beat them. Anyway,
the Broncos didn't beat. They beat them in the one game that they didn't play anybody.
Yeah, we could have beat them twice. We even played their JV and hammered them. Anyway,
but when do we start counting in the standings? We should have won or we could have won.
Well, I was lucky. I mean, the Ravens had him beat 1 inch. He was out of bounds to the opening game 1 inch. Broncos had him beat. The Raiders had him beat. They dropped the ball in the shotgun. You know all these games. I've seen them. They weren't as good as you think. The Chiefs will be back next year to the Super Bowl, the listener text says. They'll be back to the Super Bowl. This is what I'm talking about. We just got them crowned. Let's crown them. Denny Green says crown them, so we're going to crown them tonight.
Would you be shocked if they got back to the Super Bowl next year?
Oh, I would be.
You would not
yes,
be.
I would be. I'd be stunned.
No, you would not be.
I'd be stunned. Let's see. Listener text. Chiefs need to fix their offensive line. Can't run behind it. Can't pass protect. That's a big need. Yes. It's
a weakness for sure.
Big need.
It's absolute. It's their biggest Achilles heel. That showed on Sunday night. They didn't blitz one time, folks. The Eagles did not blitz one time.
No, they sacked him 6 times.
So obviously that's an offensive line problem.
Listener text. Here it is. Minnesota versus Kansas City. Book it. Well, now we've jumped the shark.
Now we've just gotten to the delusional period of the show, where we go back to the Minnesota Vikings are somehow going to make the Super Bowl.
Uh-oh.
When's the last time they did that, folks?
Be careful.
When's the last time?
By the way, our final segment is next. I want to know if we need to stop the court storming. Do we need to stop college kids running onto the court and they're knocking each other around, they're going crazy? My Dukies got beat by Clemson last Saturday, and I thought Cooper Flagg was going to get shivved. I mean, I thought he was going to get hurt. So do we need to stop the court storming? What do you say? The Alabama AD has an idea. We'll discuss wrapping it up next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds to share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Anderson, we ask, why should we only feel the love on Valentine's Day in February? We have declared the entire month of February as the month of love. That's right, we did it. We laugh at February snow and cold. We love installing the best new windows and doors. We love how warm, cozy, quiet, and more valuable our awesome windows and doors make our customers' homes. Love, love, love. Tell someone you love them today, and please book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Feel the love every day in February with Renewal by Anderson.
Cloudy skies expected tonight with a low of 14. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies again tomorrow. Chance of snow. Highs around 32. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow night. Snow likely. Lows dip down to about 4 above. About an inch of snow tomorrow through Saturday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 21 degrees.
Gear up for the ultimate outdoor adventure at the Black Hills Sports Show and Outdoor Expo, happening February 14 through 16 at the Monument in Rapid City. This exciting event features over 100 dealers and vendors, along with activities like the Best Buck or Bull Contest, Kid Zones, and the South Dakota Youth Hunting Adventures live and silent auctions on Saturday night. Explore ATVs, boats, campers, vendors, and so much more, all under one roof February 14 through 16. Visit bhsportshow.com for more info.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Find your new Cadillac at Danny Menno Rapid Cadillac. Shop our best selection in years. We have 25 new Cadillacs available for immediate delivery. Get financing as low as 3.9% APR with up to a $1,000 purchase allowance on select models. Choose from all-wheel drive 2025 Lyriq EVs with a $7,500 federal tax credit. Get your new Cadillac right here in Rapid City from Danny Menno Rapid Cadillac or rapidcadillac.com. 90 finance contract is limited with qualified credit. Expires 3/3/25.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Hey, Thursday edition of the program. Thanks for being here and making this show possible. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show across the state on Fox Sports Radio. The Nate Brown Show live and happy hour every Thursday presented by the Skybox. When you're in Rapid City, get to the Skybox, sports fans. That's the place right above the Firehouse, downtown Main Street. Hit the Skybox for all the big games. They got so many TVs, 72-inch. I mean, it's good stuff. Great food. Love the Firehouse beers. Very good. Skybox, the place, downtown Rapid City. So we got a listener text here. I'm trying to figure this one out. I'm trying to figure it out. They say the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift effect is exactly the same as the Kardashian effect on people.
What effect is that exactly? Side effect?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is. It's a bad side effect. The Kardashian effect is a bad side effect. I think that's right. Let's see here. The listener text coming in. The Chiefs just know how to win. There's a lot of teams that beat themselves, and so until there's a team that learns how to win, the Chiefs will win the AFC.
I think that's an excellent point. Whoever texted that, and that's kind of what I was trying to get to. They actually said it a lot better than I did. Winning teams, winning cultures continue to win. Now, that's not to say that they're going to win every single time, but until one of these other teams unseats them, why would I believe anything else?
Okay, we're on opposite sides on that. Let's wrap this up with there's court storming going on. So, number one, Rob, do you think more court storming is happening? You watch college basketball. You're a St. John's guy. Went to St. John's, so you like St. John's. I'm a Duke fan. St. John's has probably stormed the court. The Dukies get stormed on if they get beat like at Clemson the other night on Saturday. You think there's more court storming today than, I don't know, in the 80s and 90s?
Absolutely.
There is.
Yeah, for sure.
So the threshold has been, I said that too. I think the bar's been lowered. Like, you just beat somebody on a random Tuesday and they're ranked number 10 and you storm the court.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're looking for any opportunity they can to get onto that court and have some fun. And beating a big-time team or a big-time rival is just enough reason now.
Do you think, for example, like if North Carolina beats Duke, should that be a storm court?
No, because
that's a rivalry game.
They should be expected to beat Duke, and they've had enough of a rival. It's more of, you go into Clemson. I think is a good example. Or didn't it happen last year at Wake Forest? Right, Wake Forest beats Duke at home. They're going to go crazy. They're going to because they don't expect to win those games regularly.
Okay, so people think there's more court storming, like the Alabama athletic director Greg Byrne, and he said this week: we've got to stop the court storming. Immediate forfeit for the home team. That's what's going to stop it. So he said the fines and stuff aren't working at all, which I get. The students could care less how much Alabama gets fined. They got a lot of money. So he said we could do this, and there's more SEC ADs that say we would support that. The commissioner Greg Sankey said, "This is a tough one. We got to think this through." Forfeit. Court storming, too dangerous, so you just do forfeits? Is that the answer?
No, first of all, I'm for court storming, just so we all make that abundantly clear. I think it's a ton of fun. If I were back in college and my team pulled off a big upset at home, I would storm the court. I absolutely would do that. I would have a ton of fun doing it. Now,
would you taunt the players, too?
No,
you run,
for sure not.
Oh, yeah, you would. You'd run right by them. You'd run right in their face.
You bum.
Yeah,
you bum.
You would.
You know I was an obnoxious kid and I'm an obnoxious adult, so of course I would. But and I'm not saying that something doesn't need to be done, because certainly there is a safety issue, no doubt about that. I think forfeit is way too strong of a penalty. Your fans storm the court, right? And you're forced to forfeit a game that you won.
Yeah, that's the killer to me. You can't blame the players. So you're gonna blame the players?
Absolutely not. I completely agree with that part. You know what I would do, and I only thought about this a little while ago when we were in the break. I lived in Europe for 5 years, and I went to a lot of European soccer games. And those fans are crazy, like true insanity. When they would act up or do something really bad, they would play the next game without any fans in the stands at all. They'd be forced to play with no stands, and that was a way to try to get them in line because they didn't want to miss those games. I would do that. Let them play their next game without any fans and see how they don't have any home court advantage then at all.
Well, boy,
right now they're just playing a basketball game.
The Alabama AD is going to look at the revenue slip on that and say, we can't do that.
Oh, so we won't. So it's about money then. It's not about player safety.
Absolutely.
It's about money.
Yes, I mean we can't keep the fans out.
Let's agree that it's not about player safety then. Right?
No.
So that's why forfeit is way too strong of a penalty for a game that you won. The court storming happens after the game is over. You can't forfeit a game that you already won.
I don't know what the answer is. There's no good answer anymore because it's thousands of kids. And people say, well, rope it off. Well, they just run through the ropes. I mean, it's thousands of kids. It's not 200.
Right.
So I don't know how you do it. Somebody said barricades. Are we going to bring in huge barricades? How do we do this?
Where do we put the barricades, folks? Right, like right next to the playing surface, so that the court, so that when the guy falls into the stands, he's running into a steel barricade. Oh, that's going to be real good for player safety. We saved you from them, but we didn't save you from the barricade.
And people say, well, you got to just get out in front of it. And it's like, no, it happens in a second. I mean, it happens in a second.
It's the second that the game ends.
Yes, I mean it's why. I don't know the answer. It's not forfeit. I can't blame the players, and that steep of a penalty for the dink Jimmy Lipper running onto the court. We'll see where they aren't going to do the forfeits. I don't know. I don't think you're going to be able to stop it. It's just one of those things. It can be fun, too, but you got to keep your head on a swivel. Rob Kagron in tonight. The Nate Brown Show out, and the podcast getting set to go up right now. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here next week.
So why do teenagers